Hello everybody, welcome to this series of podcasts by Vajiram and Ravi. This is Pooja Singh. Today the discussion will revolve around that what should be your strategy for mains when you have PSIR as your optional subject. And for that we have our esteemed faculty member Iqbal Sandhu with us today. Sir, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Pooja. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
So as the results are out, the
Yes,
prelims
of
results are
course.
out and everybody was just celebrating the success. Then they realized that the time is very limited to
Yes,
prepare
of
for the
course.
mains, right?
Yes, of course.
So at this moment, what should be the mindset to prepare for the mains?
First of all, thank you, Pooja. Thank you for inviting me in this podcast. I believe it's a wonderful opportunity to interact with our students. And very rightly pointed out, results have been out, and around 70 to 75 days are left before the mains exam. And I'm sure our aspirants and the students who are supposed to appear in the mains examination, their excitement now have settled down. The celebratory feeling which kicks in when you clear the prelims paper and you get your name in that list, of course that is an overwhelming feeling, and that must have now settled down, and now new anxiety must have started.
True.
That how to excel in the mains paper. So precisely for that purpose we are organizing this podcast. So in this half an hour discussion which we intend to have today, I'll try my best to help our students and guide them through the uncharted waters of the mains examination so
Truly.
that they can excel in the PSIR paper. So
Truly, sir.
let's begin and let's see how we can help them.
Let's sir, we were discussing about that what should be the time management, the stress management as it comes after the
Yes,
celebration,
yes,
right?
yes.
What should be the mindset when you approach starting this mains preparation?
Yes. Yeah, very good question. In fact, majority of our students, when they interact with us, and initially, of course, they're very happy that they've got an opportunity to write the mains examination. And then they also at the same time they tend to get overwhelmed with this feeling that they're going to write this exam. And which at times can encourage you and at times can also create anxiety.
True.
And that is a problem which a lot of students must be facing. They are probably not able to develop the right frame of mind for preparation. What kind of mindset is required, that is something which is very important to understand. So I'd like to help our students at what you should do right now. First of all, students, I would like to, just going away from the topic for a moment, I would like to tell you that this mains examination, take it as an academic challenge. If we will treat it as an academic challenge, trust me and trust your academic capabilities, you will do better. You will perform better in the examination. You will go with a lot of confidence, and while preparing also you will have that confidence and you will be able to give your best. However, unfortunately what happens, majority of the candidates, instead of looking at it as a academic challenge, they tend to make it a life and death issue.
Exactly.
And they try and they basically start jumping the gun. You have to go through stages. It's just a stage. Actually, it's the main exam. It's actually, this is the exam. Prelims is just screening.
Yeah.
This is the main exam. You still have to appear for the exam, but they already start jumping the gun in their subconscious mind that if I would get selected, what will happen? What kind of an officer I would turn into? They start doing, they at times they tend to go into a delusional mindset also, utopian mindset also, daydreaming, thinking about the future, thinking about the result a lot.
True.
Which becomes a distraction.
Truly.
Which becomes a distraction, which doesn't allow you to focus on preparation, which also makes you more nervous. So I would like to tell my students, follow the mantra which is given in Bhagavad Gita. Do your karma, don't think about the phal,
Fruits.
the result.
Yeah,
Okay? You do your karma, you do what you are supposed to do, and don't think about the result. If you do your karma, result will take care of itself.
True.
However, while preparing, if you're continuously thinking about the result and continuously thinking about the future, then your concentration, your dedication, the kind of focus, what is required, that it becomes difficult to do that. So that's what I tell my students. I tell my students, take it as an academic challenge. Like you have been in college, university, where you used to appear for academic exams. Similarly, take it as an academic challenge. It's an exam and I have to excel in this exam. If you will keep it simple that much, then it would be helpful for you. Then you will be able to concentrate. And for that, I must tell you, try and stay away from distractions.
Totally.
Stop watching YouTube videos of now, selected candidates and, already the ones who are serving in IAS, IPS, and they tend to also make a lot of reels these days and display what they're doing in service. If you keep on watching all of that, you will be always thinking about the tomorrow, that what will I do tomorrow if I get selected. But right now, that's not the time. You can think all this, you can do all this once after the exam. Right now, you have a challenge in front of you, and that is the exam. So only focus on that. And one more thing which I would like to tell you is that students, I also want you to not have fear of failure. Okay, fear of failure can make you mentally weak, and this main examination is a test of your mental strength. See, look at the date sheet. The way they conduct exams, they will take two exams in a day. GS paper 1 in the morning, paper 2 in the afternoon, PSIR paper 1 in the morning, PSIR paper 2 in the afternoon. Within 7 to 8 days or 10 days, they would be able to finish their entire exam schedule. So why do they do this? They are deliberately doing this because they want to test the mental strength of the candidates. Now, if you have that fear of failure in your mind, then you will not be able to develop that mental strength. Have faith in your capabilities. Okay, you should understand this, and you should tell yourself that if I succeed in this exam, I will do my best. If I succeed in this exam, very good, great. Even if I don't, still I will do good in life because I'm capable enough. Whatever I will do in life, I'll do good. If you have that self-confidence, you will never have fear of failure. And that is when you are able to give your best and bring out your best in this examination. So that is the kind of mindset, fearless mindset, strong mindset, mental strength, which is required to crack this examination. Apart from your subject expertise, apart from content, what you read, this mental strength is also required. So I would like my students to develop that. This will greatly help you in your preparation.
Definitely, sir. Yeah. Also, when we look at the hurdles in the path, right? There are all like a lot of practical or pragmatic hurdles in there, right? You have to collect the resources, you have to go through answer writing, you have to enhance your answers, content enrichment and everything. Why are you focusing on the stress that you are creating by yourself?
Absolutely. Why do you there is already too much to handle.
Yeah.
So why do you
don't add up to it.
Don't add up to it. Don't add more variables of stress.
Exactly.
So try and make it simple for yourself.
Truly, sir. I guess they'll be totally focusing on this, and they will not be getting stressed in this whole journey of mains preparation. So, when we talk about PSIR, so how important is conceptual clarity and understanding of the theories? How important it is in this optional subject?
Yes, Pooja, that's a very good question you've asked, hitting the nail on the head. You must be very well aware, and I'm sure our students are already aware, that PSIR syllabus greatly overlaps with the GS papers. And that is one reason why PSIR, Political Science and International Relations, is one of the most preferred optional papers, one of the most successful optional papers, because our PSIR students tend to do very well in GS papers also. They get a competitive edge over their competitors. So that is there. That is your strength. But at times what happens, because PSIR topics, they overlap with GS topics, whether it is IR or it is polity, in certain parts of the ethics paper also, because there is certain amount of overlapping. So students, they tend to do this mistake. They end up writing GS-like answers in the PSIR paper.
That is true.
Yes. And that mistake, because of that, even if you have that feeling that my exam went great, I did all the questions, still you don't score good marks. Because in the PSIR optional paper, the examiner is expecting you to write academically rich optional answers. The examiner is not expecting a generic answer, which you may write in the GS papers, which may be good for the GS requirement, but certainly is not suitable for your optional requirement. So that is something which the students have to understand. They have to understand how to differentiate a PSIR answer, a political science answer from a GS answer. And that differentiation would happen only if they have conceptual clarity and theoretical understanding of the topics.
Definitely.
Okay, I'll give you an example. I'll give you an illustration to make it simple for you.
Sure, sir.
For example, if you get a question in the GS paper that analyze India-Pakistan relations and analyze the conflicts which are there. So if it's a GS paper, we'll start listing the conflicts. There's a border dispute. There is an Indus Water Treaty, which also is becoming conflictual these days. India has an intention to review that. Then there is Pakistan sponsoring terrorism against us, trying to fight a proxy war against us. Many such in Pakistan also trying to raise issues of Kashmir in UN, which is not acceptable to India. So many such issues are there, which we may list: the Siachen dispute, POK dispute, Sar Creek dispute in our GS answer. Point by point, we'll list all the disputes and problems, and we will also write down what steps we can take to overcome these challenges.
Yeah.
However, when we attempt the same question in the optional paper, we are not going to do this factual exercise.
Yeah.
We are not going to just list points of what disputes are there in India and Pakistan relationship. In the optional answer, we are going to use our theories and our concepts to understand dynamics of India-Pakistan relations. For example, if you are trying to understand the conflicts, or if you're trying to write down what kind of conflicts India and Pakistan have, use the concept of security dilemma. Use the realist theory, realist interpretation of India-Pakistan relations, how a security dilemma-like situation exists between India and Pakistan, which results in this spiral of hostility between these two countries. Give one more viewpoint, write down liberal perspective of India-Pakistan relations, how trade can help, how people-to-people contacts can help, bring in sociological liberalism, bring in interdependence liberalism, bring in scholars like Richard Rose Crane and Rosenau, and also, why not a Marxist perspective on India-Pakistan relations? Because these are third world states, both of them. These are post-colonial states. They have much bigger challenges of poverty, of underdevelopment. What should be their priorities? Should there be priorities of, should they have these priorities of spending vast amounts of their money on defense budgets? Or they should focus on health, education, and poverty elevations. What should be their priorities? Marxist perspective, even a constructivist perspective, how the belief systems in both these countries over the years have nurtured in such a manner that it has further accentuated hostility and animosity between both the nations, both hostile neighbors. So that's what we do in optional. That is the expectation. If I'm an examiner, I'm reading a question on India-Pakistan relations, and if the candidate is writing realist perspective, Marxist perspective, social constructivist perspective, liberal perspective on India-Pakistan relations, using concepts like security dilemma, balance of power, nuclear deterrence, all this you have to bring into your answer. Then it becomes a PSIR answer. Then it is an academically rich optional answer. And this you would be able to do if you are not depending only on rote learning. This you will be able to do, students, if you have conceptual understanding, theoretical understanding of the topics. Therefore, the chapter Theories of IR in PSIR paper 2 is very important, that you have to use in all your questions. So that is why I always say conceptual understanding, theoretical understanding, this is something which is key to success in the PSIR paper. Similarly, in PSIR paper 1 also you'll have to do the same. You have Indian government and politics paper 1 section B, in which you can get questions on politics in India, the Indian political system, the role of caste, the role of religion. Recently we had elections in our country, so you can expect questions like such. But again, you will use the views of the scholars, the views of the experts, the theoretical paradigms to understand the nature of Indian politics. You can't just write a generic answer which you may write in the GS paper. So that differentiation has to reflect in your answers. And that academic richness has to reflect in your answers, for which theories and concepts will help you. Okay.
That was great, sir. Because when you have conceptual clarity, you will have all those domains recollected in your optional paper. And that is actually very important to good.
Basically, yes, these concepts and theories, these are basically lenses to do analysis. So you must display your analytical abilities while writing answers in the optional with the help of these theories and concepts.
True. So my next question would be, so we talked about how the difference is between the GS answers and the PSI optional answers would be there. So what are good answers in like a PSIR optional subject? What are good answers? What are the features of a good answer?
Yeah, very good question. We do stress a lot. In fact, I always tell my students, your 50% of your job is reading the content, reading the notes, memorizing the syllabus, all of that. The other 50% of your job is developing good answer writing skills. Developing answer writing skills is very important. Writing good answers is very important. So, how can you develop that? What is a good PSIR answer? What method you should follow while attempting PSIR questions? Let me spend few minutes helping you understand that.
Yes.
So first of all, whenever you read the question twice, thrice, and try and identify the keywords in the question. Keywords in the question, try and identify those, and then make a structure of your answer around those keywords. Because if you're able to identify the keywords in the question, then it will be very easy for you to understand the requirement of the question. And we cannot, in the civil services paper, we cannot afford to ignore that what is the requirement of the question. If you misunderstand the requirement of the question, then you are ruthless marking is there. You will be penalized for that. So you have to address the requirement of the question in the given space limit, given word limit, given time limit. So it is therefore very important to decipher what is the requirement of the question. That is the reason why I'm saying read the question twice, thrice, and identify keywords in the question, and around those keywords frame your structure of your answer. Now, when you frame the structure of your answer, you have to understand as you all must be already very well aware, it must have a proper structure, an introductory paragraph, body of the answer, and conclusion. In the body of the answer itself, I would recommend that try and make subheadings, try and make segments. If a question has 2-3 aspects, 2-3 different dimensions, try and make 2-3 different subheadings, try and make 2-3 different segments. And they should be interlinked with each other. Interlinkages should be there in the flow of writing. This will enhance the presentation of your answer. This will enhance the structure of your answer. In a minimum possible words, you will be able to express maximum possible content. So that is how you should do it. Preferably, if required, if possible, you can also make use of flowcharts and diagrams as well, which can also help you save words, and in a minimum possible time, you can say a lot, because in the exam, you would be running against time. Time is going to be your biggest enemy that day. You would know everything, but you don't have the time to write. In such scenarios, you can think out of the box, come out with a flowchart, in which you are able to communicate a lot of things in lesser number of time. So this is how you should do it. Proper structure, identify the keywords, hit the nail on the head, just write what has been asked, and make different segments, different subheadings as per the requirement of the question: introduction, body of the answer, conclusion, and this will greatly help you. Also, when I say understand the requirement of the question, I would like to tell students, I'm just reminded of this point, that question itself would indirectly tell you what kind of requirement is there, or what approach you have to follow while writing the answer. Why? Because UPSC questions, PSIR questions always carry question tags. Now, what are these question tags, you must be wondering. I'm sure, Pooja, you also may have seen few questions. You see this, that they use these terms: discuss,
Yes, sir.
Substantiate, elaborate,
The tail words.
Yes, critically evaluate, critically examine, comment, elucidate. What do you think? What is your viewpoint? So these are called question tags. These are not meaningless terms.
True.
These are called question tags. These question tags will help you understand what approach you have to take in your answer. For example, if there's a question, discuss basic assumptions of idealism. That means that you are expected to only give a general explanation of what idealism is and what are its basic assumptions along with the views of the liberal scholars. That is what you're supposed to do, because the question tag is discuss. Okay. Now, if the question tag is substantiate, when they say substantiate, that means you have to discuss and also support your arguments by giving real life examples. That is the meaning of the term substantiate. Now, if they use the question tag comment, which is actually used very commonly in PSIR paper,
Yes,
that they will give you a statement. They don't ask the question. They give you a statement in quotation marks, and then they say comment. So what do you mean by comment? Comment means that whatever statement has been given, you have to look at both sides of the divide.
Yeah.
Arguments in favor of that statement and arguments against that statement.
Yeah.
Both the sides of the divide you have to discuss. And then on the basis of that, you can write a forward-looking conclusion. That is what we mean by comment. Whenever you are told to comment on a statement, if you agree with the statement, you write why do you agree with the statement. If certain scholars would disagree with that statement, you write why do they disagree with that
reasons
statement.
for that.
So comment basically means highlight all sides of the divide.
Yeah.
Okay. Similarly, if you get a question tag, critically evaluate or critically examine. Okay. So very simple. Or even if you get the question tag, evaluate or examine. That means again that whatever phenomena is given in the question, analyze that phenomena in your answer and also reproduce or bring out its critical evaluation, criticisms. You should focus more on criticisms here. Okay, so that is this is what these question tags would. For example, you write an answer and you come to me, sir, please evaluate my answer. Sir, please examine my answer script. So if I evaluate or examine your answer script, what am I supposed to do? Am I only supposed to tell you your strengths or weaknesses also? Of course, weaknesses as well. So therefore, if you get a question tag, evaluate or examine, that means again you will have to look at both sides of the divide, strengths of a particular idea and also the weaknesses of that particular idea. And similarly, in critically evaluate, you will have to do the same. If you get a question tag, what are your views? What do you think? Again, it is very similar to comment.
Yeah.
It's very similar to comment. That when you say, what are your views? What do you think? Don't get overexcited. Oh, this is my great day. UPSC is asking me my views. So I should make my own theory today. Yeah. So I should make my own theory today. No. Don't get overexcited. If they're asking you your views, that means that you are supposed to give your views, but substantiate your views again with the theories and with views of the scholars. And both sides of the divide. The views which would support that particular statement and the views which also would be against or criticizing that particular statement or particular idea. And in the concluding paragraph, yes, because you've been asked to give your own viewpoint, in the concluding paragraph, you can take one stand that this particular idea or this particular viewpoint seems to be more plausible and pragmatic, and give reasons for that, give examples for that. So these question tags which are given in the question, this will help you understand what approach you should take while writing the answer, while framing the structure of the answer. I'll give you another example because I want to highlight here how you can bring your conceptual clarity and hit the nail on the head. For example, if you get a question, I'm quoting a previous year question from the PSIR paper. There was a question that discuss basic assumptions of idealism. Something similar to this kind of a question was asked in the previous year PSIR paper. The question tag was discuss basic assumptions of the theory of idealism in international politics. So the question tag is discuss, and the key word here is idealism. So what do you think would be your introduction? The introduction would be, in the first introduction, the first 2-3 sentences, you will hit the nail on the head and you would describe what is idealism.
Yeah.
Who has given the term idealism? You would write down, liberals were described as utopians or idealists by British historian E.H. Carr in his book 20-Year Crisis. E.H. Carr criticized Woodrow Wilson for overlooking and ignoring the realities of power politics and international politics. Therefore, Woodrow Wilson and liberals like him were described as idealists by realist scholars like E.H. Carr. So in the introductory paragraph itself, you hit the nail on the head. You've told the examiner, I know who are idealists.
I have showed off with a good introduction.
I know who are idealists. I know who this term idealism has come from where in international politics. E.H. Carr was the first one to use this term for the liberals. So you write such an that is how you start. And then the body of the answer, you start listing your assumptions which have been asked, discuss assumptions.
And so when you add such gems in your introduction, it definitely creates an image in the examiner's mind that, okay, he knows.
Yes, always start on such a note, because the examiner would get to know, yeah, the candidate has conceptual clarity. The candidate understands the context of the question. Candidate understands the background of the question. So that would give a very good impression. And then then easily in the body of the answer make different segments and start talking about assumptions of liberalism or idealism. And also, one more thing I would not like to forget here, that actually there's so much to tell, and
I do understand,
I would
sir.
like to have a class with the students to help them know how to write. But let me just try and summarize. So one more thing, don't write the answer only in points. That looks very amateurish, very childish. This is not expected out of an optional student. In the UPSC notification, it is mentioned that in the optional expectation is more than the graduation honors level is expected in your optional paper. So there has to be some amount of maturity. You can't just write points. Introduction always have to be a paragraph.
Yeah.
Conclusion always have to be a paragraph. In the body of the answer, you may use a combination of small paragraphs and bullet points. That is all, not more than that. Preferably try and write in small paragraphs. And you can use, of course, flowcharts. So these are certain do's and don'ts, which if you follow, then I'm very sure you will be able to write good answers, best answers, and excel in the paper.
Yeah, the good structure is very important.
Yes, very important, very important.
So when say this is a subject, like it is a very interesting subject.
Yes,
You
yes.
take it because you have highly interest in like political science and international relations. You look up to the reels. Students these
Yes,
times
yes,
they look
yes.
up to the reels what S. Jaishankar is saying at this
Yes,
time.
yes.
So we have to look at the syllabus too, right? It is dynamic. So in these 2 months, this
Yes.
limited time period, what should be the strategy to cover the syllabus?
Actually, there are two aspects to this. First of all, because you've asked this question, it's an important question I'd like to address. First of all, I will talk about resource materials. That what kind of resource materials you have to refer to in the coming 2 months, because only 2 months are left before the examination. So the key to success in UPSC is not to read multiple resources, but to minimize your resources and revise them multiple times. That is the key to success in UPSC. So wherever you have studied PSIR, from whichever source you have studied PSIR, if you have done classes somewhere with some teacher, I'm sure that particular teacher may have provided you with some notes, study material, like I do for my students in Vajiram. We give them elaborate notes on all topics. So whatever material you have got, just stick to that. Just stick to that. One big problem which students have these days is this FOMO thing. Fear
Exactly,
of
sir.
missing out. That,
Yeah.
there's a lot of noise around you all the time.
Yes, sir.
Lot of people telling you, oh, you haven't done this, you are missing out on something. Oh, you won't succeed if you don't read this, if you don't do that. No. You don't have to become a subject expert here. You are not expected to become a subject expert here. You are supposed to only crack the exam.
Yeah.
Your exam oriented preparation you have to do. Whatever notes have been provided to you, study material have been provided to you, that has been made keeping in mind the requirement of the examination. So you only stick to that. Don't multiply resources. Only stick to the study materials which you have referred in the past. Don't add on to that. Okay, that is very important. Don't have this FOMO factor. Don't start reading what you are not supposed to read. And you also must understand, students, you must be very well aware, you get a lot of choice in the paper. Lot of choice. You are not supposed to know all the questions.
True.
Do you get a choice? Even if you do not know few bits, you may skip those questions and attempt other questions, because ample choice is given. So that is something which you have to understand. And don't go for subject expertise, that I have to read something which nobody is reading and I have to write something which nobody could ever write. If that approach you have, you go for perfection, you may end up writing 2-3 very good answers, but you will end
the
up
whole thing.
you will miss on others.
Yeah.
I know students who get distracted in the pursuit of perfection. They have this a lot of FOMO factor. They keep on reading a lot of irrelevant material. In the process of doing that, at the end of the day, they end up doing nothing. They even are not able to do basic reading of the entire syllabus. Basic readings also they are not able to do because time is limited. So you have to stick to a particular material and just have faith in that. revise it multiple times, and don't read irrelevant materials. Whatever notes or study materials you have and our students have, just stick to that. Just revise that multiple times. And though your focus should be doing multiple revisions, covering the entire syllabus, not even leaving one topic. And that will help you succeed rather than developing expertise in one or two topics. That is the advice which I like to give on study materials. The second thing, like the question which you asked, that the PSIR paper, Political Science and International Relations, both paper 1 and paper 2 have dynamic portions in the syllabus. That means there are certain topics of the syllabus are related to current affairs. So a certain anxiety kicks in in the mind of the students that I haven't been very thorough with the newspapers in the last 6 months, and I was busy preparing for the prelims paper. So how will I update my notes? Current developments, how would I incorporate that in my answers? So I would again like to address that don't worry, don't panic. Majority of what you have studied will still remain the same. 60 to 70% of the syllabus is static only. Only few new developments may have happened in the last few months. The other parts also remain the same. Have faith in that. And anyways, in order to prepare for GS, you must be doing current affairs.
True.
You must be reading some current affairs compilation, which has a current affairs section on IR also. So that current affair updation which you are doing for GS would be sufficient for you to also, add on to in your PSIR answers.
Options. Yeah.
Basically, basic theories and concepts and scholarly viewpoints would largely remain the same only. It's only any new development which have happened which you should know and you should mention in your PSIR answer, that anyways you would know because you are doing your GS current affairs. Current affairs you are doing. So that you can easily incorporate. No separate specialized preparation of current affairs is required for the PSIR paper. The PSIR concepts, theories, the views of experts largely remain same only. They don't change in 6 months. It's not that C. Raja Mohan 6 months ago, wrote that China is one of the biggest threats for India, and today he has changed his mind and he has started saying that China is India's biggest friend. That has not happened. That has not happened. That has, 6 months ago, Dr. Happy Mohan Jacob used to say India must not over rely on US. Trust me, even today he thinks the same.
Exactly.
Even today he thinks the same. It's not that he has changed his mind. He's got a new soul and he started saying that India should join NATO. No, that has not happened. Largely things, they remain the same only.
Yeah.
But yes, certain new developments, for example, the war going on in Gaza, the war going on in Ukraine, Iranians targeting cargo ships in the Red Sea. So these new developments, elections in UK, so Labour Party coming into power there. So these new developments you should know. Prime Minister Modi taking the oath and inviting leaders from our neighboring countries. Is it a new development? He does it every time.
Yeah.
2014, 19, on both the previous oath-taking ceremonies, also neighboring leaders were invited. And this year also the same has happened. So this you should read in your current affairs compilation, and wherever required, incorporate that in your PSIR answers.
Truly.
Okay, yes.
And sir, this is definitely not going to change, as you are never on zero. When you are talking about current affairs, you are never on zero.
Yes,
like
absolutely.
even for prelims, you did it.
Yes.
For GS, you are doing it,
Yes.
doing it.
Yes, you are very right. You're never on zero. You did it for prelims.
Yeah.
You have qualified prelims. I'm sure you must have done multiple revisions of current affairs compilations. And now in the mains also you will do the same. Again, mains compilation of current affairs you will read for your GS papers. And in that, whatever new developments in IR is happening, that also you will read and that you will incorporate. So you don't need some specialized, preparation that, something new has happened. PSIR is still the same. Nothing has changed. IR theories is still the same. Concepts are still the same. UN is there only. No new UN has come up. So don't worry. BRICS is still there. SCO is still there. Yes, few new members have joined BRICS, because of which it has become BRICS Plus now. So just read which are those new members. So don't panic. My point here is stay calm.
Yeah.
Just dynamic, don't get scared of it. In fact, it makes the subject interesting. It makes the subject interesting. You will also enjoy writing answers because of the dynamic nature of the syllabus.
Truly.
Okay, yeah.
So we were talking about the resources earlier also, like what should be approach to read the resources or read the books, right? So what resources would you suggest to follow at this moment?
Like I just mentioned earlier also, the resources, same resources, which you must have read to prepare for optional, because I'm
Okay.
sure before the prelims paper or when you started preparing for civil services, you must have taken some classes for your optional preparation.
Okay.
And I'm sure especially students from non humanities background, they do classes for PSIR optional. And if you have done that, in that whatever resources were given to you, whatever notes material was given to you, just stick to that.
Okay.
Just stick to that. Do not multiply resources.
Okay.
So basic materials. And if you have, while preparing for the optional paper before when you started preparing for civil services, if you had certain a list of books in front of you which you had referred to prepare for the syllabus, stick to that only.
Okay.
Don't multiply resources. I won't recommend any new resources today. Just because you have qualified prelims, so read these new set of books now. No. I would again recommend that whatever notes materials you have, study materials you have, which have been provided to you by your teachers, your optional teachers, just revise that multiple times.
So you do not have to add anything new.
No, but just current affairs like you mentioned. Current affairs like you mentioned. Keep on reading the articles in the newspapers. When you open up the newspaper as a PSIR student, you should see that is there any IR related editorial today? Is there any Indian politics related editorial today? Any editorial on Indian elections, caste system in India, social problems of India, political issues of India, or any on federalism, or on Indian constitution, Supreme Court judgments, or Indian foreign policy? If any editorials and articles regarding these topics are there in the newspaper, just read them diligently, which will give you a perspective which you can reproduce in your paper. So that extra bit you have to do.
Okay. So how important is practice at this moment, and what is the role of test series when we talk about mains 2024?
Of course, that's also a very good question. I'd like to address that. And for my own students, I would like to recommend, before, I'm sorry, I'm digressing from the topic, that whatever study materials we provided to our students in Vajiram and Ravi, PSIR students, that study material is much, much more than sufficient. Just have faith and revise that multiple times.
Truly.
Nothing else would be required. Only newspaper reading is required apart from that. Now, coming to your question, a very relevant question, test series. Test series, of course, is very, very essential for mains paper. Because mains paper is not like prelims where you have to just fill up a OMR sheet. In the mains paper, you are going to write answers. Your answer writing skills would be tested. Quality of your expression would be tested. Your language, your vocabulary, your analytical skills would be tested. So therefore, answer writing practice, very essential before the mains. Before the mains paper, answer writing practice should be done. Whether it is GS, it is essay, ethics, or optional. For everything you must do answer writing practice before your mains paper. And that is the reason why, precisely that's the reason why, here in our institute at Vajiram and Ravi, we are conducting a PSIR test series. In fact, it's already going on. One test has already been conducted. In total, we are going to take 6 tests. And in these 6 tests, we are going to have 4 sectional tests and 2 full-length tests. In which we will make sure that we will ask such questions which are the kind of questions which are expected in the examination. And I can tell you that in the past years we are very happy that we've been able to predict the pattern of the paper. And our test series questions, similar questions have been repeated in the main examination also. So we ask qualitative questions, tough questions, because we want our students to face tough questions in the test series itself, so that the main examination, the real examination, would appear easy to them. So such questions are framed after a lot of research, and scientific evaluation, detailed evaluation is done of the answer scripts. Feedback is given to the students, and which will greatly help students in enhancing their answer writing capabilities. In fact, students, we also provide personal mentorship. Myself, Iqbal Singh, and my esteemed colleague, Dr. Sushant Verma, we both teach PSIR, and we are always available for our test series students. If they are facing any personal problems writing answers, they can come to us, they can talk to us. Today also I had a meeting with a lot of our students who are writing the mains paper, and I try to help them how can they write better answers. So we take a lot of pain to help our students improve answer writing abilities. And for that, we are conducting this test series. We will also have test discussion classes. The test discussion classes would be taken by the faculty members themselves. That is myself and Dr. Sushant Verma. We would be taking the test discussion classes and make sure that you are able to understand what is the requirement of the questions, what approach you should follow, what mistakes you have been making, like the kind of discussion I had today in this podcast, that what are good answers. The more such elaborate discussions we do in our test discussion classes, in which we also share model answers with you. We also share model answers of the test question paper. So all such efforts are made, and it's not just your exam. We are feeling it's our exam also in the next 2 months.
Truly.
And we're making all efforts to help our students, especially those students who are writing the mains examination. So I would recommend strongly to candidates that if they are appearing in the mains paper and PSIR is your optional, consider joining our test series program. That will greatly help you.
So I also add up a point in here. A few days back, I was listening to a Toppers podcast. In that person mentioned that test series is actually very important. When you answer practice answer writing,
Yes.
you should not hesitate or put your ego first.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
I can do it myself.
Yes,
Self-evaluation is enough for anything. When you have something like these kind of options present in front of yourself,
Yes.
why would you not go for it?
Absolutely. And very rightly put out. You have to be very humble.
Yeah.
You have to be very humble in order to do good in this exam. Come and write the test. If don't have that ego, don't have that arrogance that I would only write when I'm fully prepared.
Yeah.
Or I would only write in the examination. Okay? No. Whatever the level of your preparation is, read the syllabus. Even if you've read a substantial amount of syllabus and content, come and write the test. And if you make mistakes, that is the purpose of the test series. Come write bad answers, write poor answers, write pathetic answers.
Yeah.
Because if you will make all these mistakes in your test series, then that is how then only you will be able to rectify them, and we'll be able to help you how to rectify them. If you will not make these mistakes in the test series, you'll end up making the same mistakes in the final paper.
Examination, and you have cleared prelims. There's such a big hurdle,
Yes.
right, in the journey.
Yes.
You have cleared that. Just don't miss.
Don't miss this opportunity. A given opportunity has come at your doorstep. That is the opportunity to write the mains examination.
Yeah.
Take it seriously.
When weapons are available, why are you not putting up?
Yeah, take it seriously. You know, if you don't do your answer writing practice, you end up going to the examination hall without answer writing practice, without a test series. You will make all those mistakes which you were never supposed to make.
Exactly.
For example, you may not be able to complete the paper. You may spend 2 hours just writing short notes. Because that's what students do a lot of times. No, you have to give equal weightage to all questions. 10 markers, 15 markers, 20 markers. In fact, more importance should be given to 15 markers and 20 markers rather than the 10 markers.
Yeah.
You try and attempt all the 10 short notes within 1 hour itself. And the remaining 2 hours, you focus on your 15 markers and 20 marker questions which are asked in a paper. So that is something which you have to focus on. And also, the flow of writing, the structure of writing, all that mistakes you make in the test series, you learn, and then you write perfect answers in the paper.
Truly.
So don't miss this opportunity. Don't ruin your opportunity. Do answer writing practice. That is very, very, very essential. And for that, we are willing to help you here. And my dear friends, you must understand, optional can be your make or break.
Definitely.
It can be your make or break. Getting 300 out of 500 in the optional paper is not impossible. Students have been getting scoring. Students have been scoring. Our students have been scoring 260, 270, 280, 290, even 300. So, this... If you are crossing above 260 or above 270 in your optional paper, you're already way ahead of your competition. So it can be your make or break. So take it very seriously. You make use of the test series and do answer writing practice. That will greatly help you. In fact, I would like to add on to this, just because we are discussing this, that it's not just we have a test series program. We also have a dedicated crash course for the PSIR main students. Sir. So if you want to join only the test series, you are part of the test series. But there is another program which is test series cum crash course. In the crash course, we are also going to have 30 plus hours of value-added lectures. in which we will discuss current developments, dynamic portions, lectures on important topics. We will provide enriched content, value-added material to our students. So all of that, also discussions on previous year questions. There's a tendency of repetition. A lot of questions, they get repeated in different ways. So PYQ discussion, all of this we'll do in crash course classes along with test discussion classes. So 30 plus hours of crash course lectures also we have designed and we intend to deliver for our crash course students. So you may join the test series program, or you may, if you have the time, then you can also be a part of the test series come crash course program, which will greatly help you in excelling in this exam. And of course, personal mentorship of the teachers would be available for both the students, whether you are test series students or you are a crash course student.
Truly, sir. So
Yeah.
buckle up and just practice, because we are here to handhold you. So don't miss this opportunity. Sir, in few words, like in concluding words, what would be your message to the students?
Yeah, message to my students is the same message with which we had started the podcast.
Yes, sir.
God-given opportunity. Enjoy this opportunity. This is a great opportunity to write the mains examination. Take it as an academic challenge. Don't ruin this opportunity. Don't overthink. Don't have fear of failure. Exercise mental strength, develop mental strength, and go and just be a rock star in the examination.
Definitely.
And have fearless attitude and follow all the do's and don'ts which I have shared with you in this particular podcast. And God bless you all. I am very sure you will all succeed. Thank you so much.
Definitely, sir. So thank you so much for joining us
Thank you
today.
so much.
It was definitely a very great session. I hope students were able to clear all their doubts and they are feeling a little bit relaxed now.
I must also say, great opportunity to interact with the students. I would love to come back and have similar interactions for our
sir.
students.
Definitely, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you, students.
So we will be back with such amazing sessions again and again. Until then, you have to do just one thing, that is keep studying. And all the very best for your mains examination.